Hello and welcome to the Cellar Door Last Drinks. I'm George and I'm here at Sullivan's Cove, official home of the world's best whisky. Let's head in. So Patrick, you are the head distiller here at Sullivan's Cove and global icon, no less.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Tell us a little bit about how you got into distilling.
Well, for me, it started back in the early 1990s. Mm-hmm. Friends of mine, Bill and Lynn Lark, came up with a crazy idea of distilling whisky here in Tasmania. They set up over in the city at Sullivan's Cove, which is where the name comes from. And I was invited along as a full-time distiller for that company when Bill ran it for a short time. And so for a couple of years we were distilling around the clock 24/7.
So was that to build up
the stocks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because obviously you lay down the barrels and you have to wait.
That's right, it's a waiting game.
Yeah.
We learned a lot in that time because we were pretty much beginners. Mm-hmm. You know, we made a lot of mistakes in the early days. So, but we think you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, well, it's paid off.
It's not a cheap thing to do, but anyway, you've got to learn. In our case,
you use all Tasmanian barley?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So look, we could get barley from anywhere in Australia or overseas if we wanted to, but in Tasmania we're very lucky. We have the right sort of soils. We can grow very good brewing barley here. In this distillery we do it the hard way. We don't select barrels for bottling just because they turn a certain age. We taste each barrel individually once it reaches a certain age, and we are looking for not only flavour, but we're also looking for that viscosity, that creaminess that you get.
So does that mean that sometimes you'll taste a barrel that's been there for, say, 12 years and it's not quite up to scratch?
We do that all the time.
And then what happens to that barrel?
That barrel will just sit on the racks and it will get its turn. What we've
as
found
long as you're
is,
not tipping it out.
No, we're not doing that. No, eventually they will come good. Each barrel will have its day, and we've just got to find it when it's having its day.
Do you think Myrtle will still be chugging away in 200 years?
Well, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
As you can see, we've got a couple of more shiny bits. They're the more recent bits that we've had to change because the stills do wear out. So slowly over time, the spirit eats it away.
She's still going strong.
Yeah, most of it's still original, but some of it's not. I'd like to think that old Myrtle will still be cranking away in 200 years' time. Yeah. This is all a bonded area. So this is our bond store, or one of them. And this is also our production area. So basically the process that we go through is you get a wash. So wash is essentially beer, barley, water, yeast. That's all it is. So all we're doing is extracting the alcohol and flavours of that beer. And that's the idea of using a pot still like this, because it's designed to capture the alcohol and flavour.
So it's sort of sitting in here and then it catches the condensation in
it evaporates off.
There's something onion.
Reflux onion.
Reflux onion.
Yeah, the reflux onion is there because the air around it is cooler than inside the still. So some of the vapour or the steam will recondense and drop back into the still, and that'll take some of the heavier alcohols and unwanted flavours with it.
And then it comes through the swan neck?
The swan's neck, yeah. So the swan's neck in ours is very tall and thin, so that has a reflux action as well. It goes over the swan's neck and down the line arm and into the condenser. So there's a copper coil in the condenser that converts the steam back to a liquid. So once we've done that, we'll put it into the barrels and it'll go away onto the racks and it'll just sit there gathering dust and cobwebs for the next 10, 20 years, who knows. The beauty of making whiskey is you can play with it.
Yeah.
you use different barrels. Where you cut your run when you're doing your spirit runs can give you different flavours. I think that over the years we will develop more about what we're doing, and with our barrel regimes, all this sort of stuff could create a lot of difference between what we've done in the past and what we might do in,
And you've
in the
captured
next
that,
10 years.
like right down to the barrel.
And I think it'd be a fascinating thing for somebody to do in years to come.
Yeah. Patrick, thanks so much for having me at your amazing world-class global icon distillery.
Well, you can keep saying that.
Yeah,
but
okay.
thank you very much.
I probably could get going. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
So Heather, your official title is Head of Operations?
You can call me anything, but production manager's the
Production
usual.
manager,
Yep.
sure. Yeah, great. Shall we dive in?
Sure, fantastic. Okay, so the glass closest to you.
So this is double cask.
This is double cask, so there's this guy here. Now, the majority of our whiskey in Sullivan's Cove, in the Bond store, is matured in an American oak ex-bourbon cask or a French oak ex-Australian fortified, so an ex-tawny cask. And most of those will go to single cask. That's one barrel's worth, a single cask. Super niche. It's a freak of nature, really, when that happens. It's amazing.
So you don't have releases of single cask every year?
We do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we do, but only when the barrel tells us it's ready. So, yeah.
For a double cask,
Yep.
is that
It's
American and French?
Correct, yeah, a blend thereof. Yeah, it's still single malt whiskey. It's not technically a blend, but we go through a blending exercise to put it together.
So this is the completed
This
puzzle.
is the completed puzzle. So on the nose, there's going to be particularly the French oak characteristics come through. So there's a bit of a dry, dusty cooking spices sort of number. So you get that sort of savoury stuff coming through, dried fruits, plums, prunes, all the rest of it. And on the palate, you really, this is generalising of course, but on the palate you generally get that American oak, vanilla, pastry sort of stuff coming through. Yeah, very easy to drink. We call it the breakfast whiskey.
Perfect.
I think that says it all.
What an ideal name. Oh well, I'm going to let it approach my palate.
Great. Very smooth on the palate. It fills the mouth, and you're like, oh, this is quite round and soft. You get the pastry
get
stuff.
that wooded sort of.
Yep.
And it fills right up.
Yep. Yeah, it fills the palate. It goes across the palate. It's something that's very that we're very particular about. Is something that the way it feels in the mouth and the texture should never be overlooked. It's an important thing. We talk about it in food all the time and in wine, and I think it's something we often forget about in spirits is the mouthfeel.
Look, I feel like I've had quite a treat, but you've got one more.
I sure do.
For me.
I absolutely do.
Excellent.
Cool. Let's go grab a dram.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Heather, this is very exciting. Tell me about this delightful bottle.
Well, it's a special treat. We've just had our core range out the back, which is what anybody who comes to the distillery will taste. Of course, if you come to the distillery, you're going to have some other interesting releases to have as well, and this is one of the ones we've got on at the moment. So it is in lieu of our 25th anniversary as a company. Well, it's 4 different barrels.
Okay.
They were all American oak ex-bourbon casks, 200 litre guys. Blended them together. They were all 21 years old of age. Yeah, so it's one of the oldest drams about in Australia. So please have a nose and taste.
Thank you.
So you've got a very strong malty note. Immediately you get the vanilla cream, almost like the milk bottle lollies. And it's really warm. It is.
Special bottle.
It's a beautiful whiskey. It's a special whiskey. But like all whiskies we produce, we want them to be enjoyed and drunk and smelled and
All right.
yeah.
I can do those
Go
things.
for it. It's distinctly from a grain. I really like that. It's not overwhelmed by the pre-fill of the oak. There's a balance in there. You get the oak, you get that vanilla-driven stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, vanilla.
But not the woody sort of.
No,
oak.
that's right. And with American oak, you do get that really strong vanilla drive. It's almost like you're in a bakery. There's that pastry sort of stuff, like vanilla custard.
And it definitely revolves on your tongue as
It does, and it still goes. It goes and goes and goes. You're left with a lovely thick coating in the palate. A very special whiskey and a very enjoyable dram.
delicious.
Yeah. Delicious.
Heather, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Had a
Anytime.
fabulous time. Anytime.
Good stuff.
Great. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good stuff. Anytime.
Well, I had a great time at Sullivan's Cove Distillery, and now I'm at Sullivan's Cove to say goodbye to Tasmania. Don't forget, if you want to catch up on any old episodes of the Cellar Door and the Cellar Door Last Drinks, you can check out our YouTube channel. Until next time.